let's have this conversation about Uncle Nearest because this one is hurting my heart. I'm gonna be honest with you. And as a person who advocates for black owned businesses and is involved on different levels of it and have seen all the things, I'm talking about all the things, okay? This is not coming from a novice, and I still feel like I'm in middle school right now, just to be honest. I feel like I have some things to still grow in and learn. Let's have this conversation because this is a family conversation we need to have right now. And I know that being a black owned business can be tough, number one, especially if you're in the Western world, if you're in the US, honey. You already fighting the unseen battles that you don't even understand, that you ain't got nothing to do with, and the structure is already set up from 1919 or 1900s or 1800s, and it ain't never changed. Okay, that's number one. That's the thing. I'll be like, y'all, when did y'all see all the banking systems change? This stuff ain't changed. They just put little band-aids and stuff, but everything that was behind it still is the same case. Okay, so I be wanting to know the back end of the banking system because I can tell something off. Now we'll get into that later. But what we're watching or what we have seen that has went so viral is no different than what we've actually seen before. One, when a black owned business decides that they want to go global, that they want to continue to grow, they want to scale, they want to become that everyday brand name in a person's house, it is going to be some decisions they are going to have to make that are going to be challenging. It's going to be some people that's going to come out the woodwork, some people inside their house that are going to be vultures. Whether they look like us or they look like this. Now, some may decide not to ever go on their journey. They're like, you know what? Because I work, I'm telling y'all, I'm in this field. And I've had enough conversations with us, black owned business owners, to know. Some are like, you know what? I want to be in my community. I want to be able to help my community. I'm not concerned about becoming no $1 billion brand. I want to make sure I can employ my people here. I want to be sure that I can keep ownership and those things. And that's where they stay at. Now, some are like, they stay small in a small business range. Some are like, you know what, I'm going to get to a mid-size. I want to be able to employ this many hundred people or whatever, and want to make sure that I keep this ownership. Then you have those who go on the journey of, I want to become global. I want to be a household brand. I want to get and navigate to this, which is nothing wrong with it. I'm just telling you, it's different levels and different challenges at each step. Now, let's talk about the structure of America, because I feel like from what I see, we have forgotten as a people what we're dealing with. And at the core of it. And I think all of us decide how to navigate it differently, and some of us are still figuring it out, and some of us really, and I get the frustrations in it. I think what's going viral right now, Amanda Seales and the Jubilee, right? That's going viral right now. And so, you have Amanda Seales, who is a rebel, who stands up unapologetically for black people, who is now talking to conservatives or those who believe that, there's no structuralized racism. And I could even, and people be like, I don't understand how they can think like that. How can they see that? This and that. I want you to think of it from this perspective. Sometimes certain people, because everybody's different. Everybody's mental capacity is different. Everybody, what they want to see, believe is so different for all of us. Just think about the people who are like, I don't want to say I'm a victim. I no longer want to even be in that category to say that we are being structured, that we're being, under this racist system, that everything's equal. I can't even deal with the reality of saying that. You know, I can see how people get to that, because who wants to be able to even accept that reality and then figure out how to navigate through it? It's easier for you to act like it doesn't exist and just navigate your life. You can't even blame them for it, to be honest. Because not everybody's supposed to understand it. Not everybody's supposed to get it. Not everybody's supposed to be in that world. That's just what it is, y'all. Now, we've seen this before with Uncle Nearest. You guys may not be aware of it, because I am sitting close to where I went to decide to take the journey of advocating for Black-owned businesses, building an organization that is working with Black-owned businesses and so forth, and getting deep in the weeds with it. This story is all too often and all too real. I think back to, and I can't even find the story because I think they wiped it off the internet, just to be honest. The young Black man who created the actual facial recognition system that everybody's using right now, and how he wanted to scale his business, and he brought in different people for his board, and then they took the business from him. And then he went into a court fight to try to get his business back. And unfortunately, he did not get it back, but I think they ended up cutting him a deal so he can create a business on the side or something like that. But at the end of the day, he created something and was never ever to get it back. Okay. So then I think it was Black Girls Code. She's built a nonprofit, begins to grow, gets global, national attention. Next thing you know, the board's kicking her out of her own nonprofit. And I'm just giving you examples of things you can gravitate towards and grab onto that are nationally known. But I'm telling you, these things happen on a small scale, guys. Because at the end of the day, it's about ownership. And we are unfortunately dealing with a structure and a system that was created hundreds of years ago that honestly never honored our ownership, and still doesn't to this day. These things are still happening on a regular basis. This is not something that is not happening. So when you look at it and you say, how do we navigate this? How do we continue to build Black-owned businesses in an area where you're going to have all levels of indoctrination, you're going to have all levels of programming, you're going to have all levels of people who don't get it, you know, all levels of people who think they get it and think they're doing the right thing, like seriously think that, hey, I am really doing what is going to help our community. Like, some people truly believe that. That is not, you know, and that's why I don't get upset, because I'm like, y'all, this is a complicated structure. It's a very complicated system. I don't get upset about it because it's very difficult for you to just be like, oh, they should just understand. Oh, they should have done this. They should have done that. You're not in their shoes. You don't know what they're navigating. You don't know what their experiences have been in life. You don't see what their processes is each day. It's easy to say that when you're from the outside looking in, but when you in it, it's a whole different ball game. This is why I never pass judgment on anybody. Or at least I try not to. Now, certain people I don't deal with, certain people I'm in line with, but I try not to pass judgment. Okay? Let's Uncle Nearest. I say all this to say that we've seen this before. And this is very clear that they want the company. Extremely clear to me. Now, One, when you have a bank, what bank? Let me just ask y'all this question. What bank do you know is going to loan to a black-owned business and not confirm the collateral? That was setup number one. You know, a lot of times we're caught up in, we're growing, we're doing these great things, this and other, and they're playing the long game. I always say that. We got to learn how to start playing the long game. Setup number two. The Martha's Vineyard property. Now, a new company name was created to purchase the property in, so forth, etc. It was like, oh, you couldn't have used the funds to do that, and it should have been under the same name. Y'all, that is something people do all the time in business. But that was set up number two, and then for them to use and say, we did not know this, even though they were at a party. They knew all this. That was just them getting the brief prepared, if you get what I'm saying. So the thing that we have to understand, and us being in the US and navigating, I got a meeting I gotta get to. Let me look at the time. And navigating this structure, we cannot forget what the foundation of it is. And I really feel like, one, us as a people forget a lot of times. I see a lot of things happen, or a lot of things go up, or people just get on the internet and be announcing stuff, and I be like, dang, we not thinking about the protection. They're not even aware of, I need to protect myself. I need to, let me make sure that I got all these things where they need to be before I say a word to anybody else. You know, and I see it constantly, and it's because I'm in the space where it's people where they buying property and then they're fighting to keep their property. It could be a house, they're fighting to keep their house. It could be a business, they're fighting to keep their business. And it's another, and I'm like, okay, and I'm asking them about the process. I'm like, okay, well, what made you go buy the property here? Did you know the politicians? Did you know the zoning people? Who do you know here that controls these things? And you have a relationship with. Not you go call and talk to them, not just they say hi to you, but you have a relationship with, to the point where if you call, they picking up and they ask you what you need. I just think we have really walked away from understanding what we're under. Now, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back up a little bit. First of all, the average American citizen is dealing with a lot. No matter what culture you're in. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, whatever. You're in an unregulated community, capitalistic society. You don't have any universal health care. The majority of citizens are paying taxes out the roof. We don't even know if we're going to have SSI. America never figured out how not to run on slave class. That just means instead of it being free labor, it's low wages. Products, food is tampered with. And that's for everybody that's in the USA. Then you come to black people who have not ever been treated like a full citizen yet. Just being honest. Everything is somehow unequal. Whether it's wages, whether it's our housing being Um, oh shoot, I can't think of the calculation of the housing, whatever that is. I can't think of the name of it right now. Forgive me, perimenopause got me. Whether it be loans not approved or getting approved for half or less, whatever it may be, we're facing the things that every citizen's facing and then some. And then a lot of times we get indoctrinated from going to college, from being part of this, part of that, and we're like, oh, we're good. Y'all, this ain't our structure. It's not that you be fearful in it, but you have to understand how to navigate through it because it's not our freaking structure. You get what I'm saying? If I tell people this all the time, if they wanted to close all the bank accounts of all the black people tonight, they could do it tomorrow. If for some reason somebody who got the power, who got a wild hair up their butt to say, we want to close down all the bank accounts of all black people, they could do it. I don't even agree with us having black banks under their structure. I'm telling you, we have to get to the point of building structures outside of the structure that work next to the structure. That's the only way I see black Americans kind of being okay. Or getting to some point of where they can be at peace and they can build without the threats of what they're constantly going through. The Uncle Nearest thing really made me be like, whoa. The setup, the indoctrination, the trusting of the wrong people. And we all do that. In a lot of tendencies, we all been trained to trust them over us. I see people say it all the time. I can't stand black owned businesses. I can't believe they did that. See how black owned business do this? See how black owned business do that? See how I went here and they did that? We'll spread the negativity of it because we've been taught to spread negativity of ourselves all the time. We don't even see each other as humans, Lord, nor do we have empathy for each other. Not at the level that we have empathy for others, but we also been all programmed the same because you've been seeing the same television and social media as your counterparts that may be racist towards you. So you have a level of deep down self-hate that you have to work through and really fight and be like, oh, I tell people when they first family starting to come out of it, I said I want you to look at everybody and look at them and say white. And you say, why is that? Because the way you're gonna handle the situation is gonna be different. Because your default programming is already there. And then ask yourself, if there was a white person standing in front of you, would you say the same thing? Would you do the same thing? Would you have the same movement? I bet you wouldn't. If you just now coming out of the programming and the indoctrination and you're trying to get out of it. I also tell people this. Once you finally begin to realize that, then you're going to realize how many of us are indoctrinated and not even seeing each other or giving each other grace. Nor will we support each other. Because it was always the process to make sure that we don't rebuild. And it wasn't about us not having the resources to rebuild. It was more of us being programmed not to rebuild. And thinking we were okay. And we see our neighborhoods is going through it. We see our communities are at odds. And we like, oh, it's on us. We the one doing this to each other. Y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to wake up. I want us to really get to the point where we, you know what, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and they were like, I don't want to deal with black-owned businesses. I prefer not to deal with them. I prefer not to be bothered with them, this, that, and other, etc. And I said, I've had so many bad experiences and so forth. I said, have you, or did you just stop once you had that one bad experience? Did you allow? I said, why don't you think about it this way? Because now I'm trying to work through I'm trying to get us reprogrammed at this point. I'm not doing no convincing. I'm just gonna try to get you to get reprogrammed the quickest way I know how. Think about it this way. Instead of you being done in by them, why don't you say, I'd rather it be done in by us? And when you get done in, hold that person accountable, and then go find another person that's on top of the game that's doing it right. Because I guarantee you one of us are out here doing it. And find that business to work with. We are going to be pushed to work together. So I'm not even worried about it. That's why I don't waste my time or my voice on it much. Because I already know it's going to happen. Because, honey, the things that is coming down the pipeline, people ain't even seen yet. So, at the end of it, I hope Uncle Nearest gets the company back. I hope the receivership works out in their favor. And if they don't get it back, I hope they don't agree just to be stewards and not tell nobody they don't have ownership. That's my other concern. I hope they have the wherewithal to stand on that business, to say if they lose ownership, to let everybody know they lose ownership and not agree to some terms where they don't have ownership anymore. But I'm not in their shoes. I cannot judge whichever way it goes. I just am hoping that if that happens, that we are notified, so we know how to respond accordingly. Because right now, the course is like, you stay stewards over the brand, you continue to push the marketing. Oh, this setup right here. And honestly, we don't even know if they really want to try to tank it anyway. See, this is when you're dealing with a structure that is set up to be cantankerous, as my great grandma used to say. You don't even know if that's the whole reason. Maybe they trying to make a whole lot of money right now, and then they just wanted to shut down because it's actually been challenging the other brands. Y'all, I was watching a podcast the other day. I'm gonna say this and I gotta get off. And the young lady was breaking down pretty much what each culture is over and what we are supposed to be connected to. And it was like the yellow man is over healing, white man technology. I forgot. I think the natives is over the, protection of the earth. Black people is spirit. And it's been so many things to manipulate us from getting away from spirit and source and God and having middlemen in this structure and this dogma and this thing being hijacked and this becoming something else, to make sure that we are not connected to our true power. We have to get back connected to spirit, because everything is controlled by spirit. Including our businesses. Let me go. I gotta go get interviewed. But I wanted to say this because it is definitely a time where so much is shifting and so much is happening that we have to get connected back to spirit. Anyway, whenever you watch this video, I hope you have a good day, a good night. This is just my opinions and solely opinions of me, no one else, nothing else that I represent. But I wanted to make sure we had that conversation. Talk to you guys later.